Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got yet another CGC unboxing for you. This is the second half of the order that I sent out. You saw, if you watched my last video, that was the first 25 books in that 50 book order. This is the second 25, and to remind everyone, this was a modern pre-screen 9.8 submission. Again, 50 books, and this was one of the last orders that CGC worked on. They had them cleaned and pressed at CCS, and probably, as I said, it's one of the last orders I ever sent out that they worked on. I actually have some other orders, earlier orders, that are in there right now being worked on, but this is one of the last orders that I had sent out that they're working on. And they did pretty good in the last box. The last box, we ended up with 16 out of 25 that came back. That was a pretty good, considering, as I said, if they hadn't worked on it, we wouldn't have gotten probably any of those as 9.8. And the fact is that 16 out of the 25 came back. That was really good. This box, again, is another 25. It was the same order, so it's the same deal. Out of this box, I did pretty good. I think I've gotten 21 out of 25 out of this set, and I ended up looking at the order ahead of time. This is the box I had gone into the order, and I know what got graded and what didn't get graded, so it's not going to be any surprise to me at this point. I have opened this, I've looked at the books and everything. The last one I did pretty good. I didn't go in and cheat and take a look at everything, so it was a complete surprise to me as I was opening them that I knew that I got what I got. So anyway, let's get into the box and let's get going. Alright, first up today, I think this is the second copy that I've got of this. It is Detective Comics 1027. It's the 1000th issue of Detective Comics with Batman in it. This is the second copy of this particular cover. This is the J. Scott Campbell cover, and I just thought this was gorgeous. And you know, it's an awfully tough book to get. I don't know what they exactly did to it. I definitely saw some creasing on this cover. This is a really thick book. It's probably one of the thickest square-bound books I've ever seen. I mean, at this point, you're pretty much going to a trade paperback size book. But that was really nice to get a second copy of that. Alright, and I think this is a second copy I've had of this too. This is Radiant Black, #1, the regular cover. And I think that this is starting to heat up a little bit, Radiant Black. I thought that the market for this is starting to dry up a little bit rather, and it seems like I'm starting to see a few more videos. They seem to be expanding the universe with Radiant Black and everything, so there's some more efforts being put into it, so there's definitely a little bit more spec on this book right now. I've got some help here in the background. But I think that's the second 9.8 I've got on a Radiant Black copy. Alright, this is not the first time I've gotten this book back either. I've got two copies of this here. This is the Nice House on the Lake, #1, but it is the Third Eye Comics exclusive cover. You notice that the trade dress, the cover is the same as cover A, but the trade dress on it is kind of reminiscent of a late 70s Stephen King novel, for example. And I've bought this before at Third Eye Comics. Third Eye Comics, you can find them in several locations, but my main store is down in Annapolis, Maryland. And they had these. I've bought these before, and I've sold some of these before as well. And I have two more copies. Put in the keep one for the PC, and definitely one of these will be for sale at some point. Alright, here is regular cover of Something Is Killing the Children #11. This isn't a super valuable book like a lot of the Something Is Killing the Children, but I went ahead and sent this one in. A little bit of value. If you got a 9.8, that's still pretty good. It's not super valuable or anything, but yeah. So, Something Stealing Children, number 11. And while we're talking about Something Stealing Children, here's one that I actually spent a little bit of money on, and I did it out of just the love of the artist and the homage to this cover. This is Something Stealing Children, number 16. This is the Bill Sienkiewicz homage cover to Electra number 1, and I've talked about Bill Sienkiewicz before and his influence on me back in college when I was an art student, and just the absolute love of his art, getting to meet him. I went down a couple years ago and I got to talk to him in Charlotte at the Heroes Con down there. But I bought this. I thought this cover actually would just blow up. I don't think it has retained, I don't think it's increased in value. At a 9.8, it's definitely more value, but it didn't kind of blow up the way I like, and which may be good, because at that point I think I probably would have sold it, but I was thinking to sell it. But now definitely I think this one's going to stay in the PC for a while. I'll have to set it over here, over to the wall. I've got my Electra posters that Bill Sienkiewicz signed for me down in Charlotte. I may have to put this on the wall next to it. Alright, let's just keep the train rolling with Something Stealing Children here. And definitely got some variants on number 16. This is number 16. This is Third Eye Comics, another Third Eye Comics exclusive cover, and Alexis Zirot. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I bought this. I only bought one copy of it. I thought, if somebody wants this will be good. It was, an exclusive cover. Of course, there's a million exclusive covers. I don't know if I'll wasted money on this or not, but if anybody's interested in this, definitely this is available. Okay, and then this was an online purchase, and one that I was hopeful that they could work on, because it did come back with just a little bit of spine creasing, not color breaking, but it's Something Stealing Children, number 16. This is Jae-Young Lee cover. This is the trade dress version, and I bought them as a set, and this was the Virgin cover of that, and I just absolutely fell in love with the artwork on that when I saw it when it came out, and I said I've got to have that. This one may stay in the PC for the time being, but I really like this, and I was super happy that they were able to get the creases out of it. If I remember right, the upper corner up here had a little bit of damage, so wasn't sure. Now what's interesting was, I think I've got the Virgin cover. I bought another copy of that I had in a previous submission that I actually worked on. I clean and pressed them myself, and it was the same sort of damage. It seemed like there was a lot of creasing in this upper left hand corner, and I went in there myself and pressed it, and I thought it had that chance to get a 9.8 if they were feeling good that day, and luckily I was. You can't really see it, although I can still go back and look at it and I can tell where it is a little bit, but it's nice to get the whole set right here on these. So I'm definitely going to keep at least one copy of the Virgin cover for my own PC. Alright, here is a much older issue. This is number 3. This is the Marcos Martin cover, Virgin cover, and got a little bit of value on this. It's not tremendous, but there's definitely, I don't think this is the most desirable cover from issue number 3, the variant covers and everything, but I saw this, I thought it was a good value when I picked it up at one of the local comic shows, and went ahead and put some money into it, and when it got it clean pressed, I don't remember it being too damaged, but it definitely had a crease or two that needed to be taken out. And again, this was back before I was cleaning and pressing my own books again, and it's amazing once you learn how to do at least even the most basic cleaning and pressing, that the money you start saving by not spending it at CGC or at even having sending your books out to an independent cleaning impressor, and it's, you know, it's amazing how much money that you're going to save. Now, this whole order, it was a 50-book order altogether, so you can only imagine. You take your CGC fees and top that with the, at the time it was $12 a book, and that's a lot of money. So when I sell these, I've got to take that into account. That's one of the things that I've been doing a lot better at. It's keeping track of how much I'm spending on these, because if you're selling any of these, you've got to know if you're making money or not, or if you're losing money. So this one's actually really nice. I love that. I love the cover. But like I said, I don't think it's the most desirable number 3 out there. All right, let's see what else we got in the box here. All right, let's move over to Berserker, and I think I've already got a copy of this in the collection. I think this was the second one I bought. This is the Grandpa Virgin Edition for Berserker #1. I'm not sure, what is this? Is this a 1 in 100 ratio? I can't remember. But that's just a beautiful cover, and I'm sort of holding on to these Berserkers like this. So even these higher ratios like this, seems like the value is really dropped right now, and I think probably better off just holding on to them for a little bit. Wait for a second round of movie news if you're a little bit closer to doing the movie or the animation show, anything like that. But beautiful cover. Alright, here is the Jenny Frison cover. This is issue number 3. This is not the higher ratio, this is a lower ratio, but that's just a beautiful Jenny Frison cover there. Again, I think there's a lot of these out there in the market right now, so I don't think it's super valuable at this point. Alright, here is a beautiful copy of Punchline #1. It is the Frank Cho variant. And if you know his artwork, you know he does a lot of covers like this. He's done them for Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, and some other things. But he did a lot of books in this kind of style. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I think this is one of those I just kind of fell in love with the cover. I've always been a fan of his. Him being from University of Maryland, here in Maryland, you get to see him a lot. He'll show up at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, and he's always at the Baltimore Comic Con and everything. I remember once standing in line when Stan Lee, I think it was one of his last appearances here in Baltimore, and I'm standing in line waiting my turn, and who's in line right behind me was Frank Cho with books of his own, and he said, well, I was like, why are you here? You know, why are you standing in line? You could just go right behind and just go right up. Everybody knows who you are. And he said, no, I want to, enjoy the fan experience. He wanted to go talk to Stan just like everybody else. And so that was kind of neat. But anyway, the beautiful cover, and you've heard me talk about Punchline before, how I came into the Punchline game a lot late, but I've picked up a lot of her key books and everything, and I love this cover. So right now, as I said, not super valuable, but it's going to be a PC for a little bit. I'll enjoy this. I'll enjoy having that in my collection. Alright, well, this was a super nice book. It's a book that I picked up. I didn't even know I really had it. It was Black Panther #1. This is the variant edition, and what you see here in the cover is the female Black Panther, and at the time you didn't know who this was. I think there was a lot of talk at the time that it was going to be Storm of the X-Men and not Shuri, T'Challa's sister. And I think there's some value in this because this is, the first cover appearance, technically, I guess, the first appearance of the character. But this was nice. This was a book that I definitely put in this collection, this box, because I don't have any sentimental value to holding on to something like this. This is a book I had no problem selling and helping pay for this collection. It's in little ways you try to make the hobby pay for itself. This is a perfect example of that. I have no need to keep this in my collection, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who really would like this. And this is great to get a 9.8. This is a little bit older book compared to some of the other books in this collection. I mean, this is from '09. It's not super old or anything, but you know, that's a good 10 to 12 years older than a lot of the books in here. All right, here is a book. I've been picking these #1 issues up. This is Proctor Valley Road. This is the Christian Ward cover. I think this is a 1:10 ratio, but I'm not really sure. It doesn't say it on the cover here, but I remember it being some kind of a low ratio like that. And I've been picking up extra copies of Proctor Valley Road as we go along. I remember that I stopped over a comic store, 2 comic stores over the last weekend, and I picked up multiple copies of the regular cover. I think it's been picked up. Is it Netflix? I'm not sure, but when that hits, it's gonna be nice to have some extra copies of this, and so I picked this cover up and got 9.8 on it. I think I paid $10 for this. I remember picking this up at that same little show I keep talking about down in Laurel, Maryland. All right, here is a book. This is significant because it's the last issue of the series, Walking Dead number 193. This is the end of the series, and yeah, it's a nice square-bound book. It had a little bit of creasing, I think, that they just pressed out. As I said, all these books were close to a 9.8, or I wouldn't have put them in there to have them work on to try to get that 9.8. These days, again, I would have done all these books myself. Even a square bound, I probably would have eventually got into it. The square bounds I haven't really touched that much, but most of these I would have done myself, and I think I could have done just as well as CCS. And if you watched that last video, you know there's 9 books out of that didn't make the 9.8 that I'm going to go back and take a closer look at. I will put them back through a clean and press myself. We'll see if they get resubmitted. But this is real nice to have. It's not super valuable, but it's a significant book just because it's the end of the series. And it was a shock ending that when they pulled the plug on that book. Alright, here's another nice book. This is Stray Dogs #3. This is the variant cover. It's the homage to Annabelle. And that's kind of nice. It's not one of my favorite horror films, but that's just a nice homage to the movie poster and everything. Just adding on to the Stray Dogs collection at this point. Alright, we got some kind of neat books here. Now, everybody remembers back in the middle of the summer last year, Marvel went through the Heroes Reborn thing where the Squadron Supreme, where it was an alternate reality that was in existence and everything. And this is one of my favorite characters that they ended up doing. This is Night Gwen. This is the design variant to this, and I just thought this was kind of neat. I think it's a very low ratio, like maybe a 1:10 or something, and I just thought it was a neat cover. Little less of these out there than, say, the regular cover. And anyway, I thought this was kind of neat to spec on just a little bit. It was a low risk and everything, and just a beautiful cover, beautiful design. Trying to get in a little bit on this Gwen love that everybody has and everything. That was my small attempt at that. Alright, now here's an interesting cover because we just saw one that was almost just like it. It's Heroes Reborn #6. Frank Chow cover of it's Power Princess, right? Is that her name? I can't remember right off. But isn't that just gorgeous? Just like the other cover we saw of Punchline. And this was interesting because from what I understand, Frank was doing a lot of Wonder Woman covers like this, and they stopped using him, and look what he did. He started doing covers like this for Marvel, and it's the same cover. It's the same character. Come on. Is that not Wonder Woman or not? That's definitely Wonder Woman. But beautiful cover here. I think this, I don't know if this is it's not a ratio or anything, but it's a nice variant and everything. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Alright, so we're coming down to the last 2 books that I've got in a submission that are graded, and they, to me, are for 2021. Everybody has their favorite covers, and I know a lot of people were talking about that one particular issue of Wonder Woman, Black, White, and Gold, and it was definitely gorgeous and everything. It's just not something I got, but these are books that I got, and I've talked about this when I sent out, I think I ended up sending this out, or I had this in an unboxing. This is Heroes Reborn #1. This is the Patrick Gleason cover. This is one of those Stormbreakers, next generations of elite artists at Marvel and everything, and absolutely one of the 2 favorite covers of the year. I've talked about this before, how it reminded me of Fantastic Four #249 with the Thing and the Gladiator from X-Men, and it just seemed very familiar, and I just love the strength of the character here. You see Captain America across her shoulder like that. She's lifting him effortlessly. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Love that cover. And I didn't think I would love any cover more than that this year. Just absolutely gorgeous, until they did same issue, but it was an art germ version, and that right there was my cover of the year. This one right here. Love this cover. These are my 2 favorite books, and just absolutely gorgeous. I've been trying to find the version of this cover, and it's gotten pretty expensive. I missed out on an auction. I let one of the auctions go because there was definitely a big spine tick on the back of the book on that one, but the other one I think ended early. I remember looking at it, and I think both of those were in around that $80 or $90 range, and then the only one I found on eBay recently, or right after that, was, I think they had it for buy it now for over $300, and well, that's not going to happen. But this right here, just absolutely gorgeous. My wife kind of stink-eyed me a little bit. She said, I think you like that cover a little too much, but absolutely gorgeous. I love having that in my collection. That one's not going to go anywhere. It's staying in my PC, going to stay on my wall for a while. Alright guys, so that was the last of the graded books. This right here is the books that didn't make it. Let's go through those, and we'll talk about books that may or may not go back to CGC. I don't know if they'll, see what the damage is, see what I can do, see if I want to do anything, and see if I want to resubmit it at any particular grade. So we only had 4 books. This was 21 out of 25 out of this 25 books. And we'll start with this. This is a Millennium edition of Wonder Woman #1. And then I had let's see if I can put it side by side, Superman #1 Millennium edition. And again, here I am with doing facsimile reprints and whatnot, and I love these things, and I'm yet to get one of these Millennium books through at CGC at a 9.8, and I will have to look at these. I'll find out what's wrong with these, I guess, but I'm beginning to suspect that there's something more going on, because I'm yet to get one of these through for any reason. And then we got one of these Stray Dogs, and I don't remember the movie homage to this. I don't remember what horror movie this was. This was Stray Dogs. Which one was this? This is #4, and again, we'll just take a look at that. This will definitely look like one that I'll put back into a cleaner press myself to work on. None of these are super valuable graded, so they may not go back in even if I work on them. I may just work on them and get them back to that point and just hold on to them, put them into a queue that if I feel like resubmitting someday, maybe we'll put them back in. We'll see. But the last one here was the one that was a real disappointment. It's David Nakayama cover to Daredevil #29. This is, I think, cover B, I'm not sure, or cover C rather. And that was part of that interesting story I've talked about, where I fell in love with this cover and the mirror image cover that he did, where she's leaping in the other direction and dressed as the Daredevil persona. And I bought those 2 as a set. This was this issue and this copy, and the other copy I originally bought them as a set. And this one I thought was super clean, that just could have a little bit of crease that I thought could come out really easily. Again, I wasn't doing them myself at that time. And I went ahead and submitted this, but the other issue, the one that is hers, Daredevil, I struggled with that. And I've talked about that in my videos, is I've bought multiple copies of that issue, and every time I come, I've had one that had a finger crease right here on the edge, and it broke the color. It was bad. And talked with the seller, got some money back on it, kept the book, of course. And then I picked up another one, and looked great, absolutely gorgeous. And it had, you open up the bag and it had some splotching on the varnish that I'm not sure if that was a printer defect or not, but like, well, crap, I'm looking for something that really looks good, because in my mind this one's going to go, this is going to get a 9.8, and then I'm going to get that one as a 9.8, and it's going to be a nice display piece. Well, and this order took for a long time. I mean, this order went out to CGC back in July, end of July. I didn't get this back until, you know, a few days ago, March 16th. So it's been out there for a long time. In that time, I had eventually picked up another copy of the Daredevil Persona cover that absolutely was gorgeous, and I did a quick press on it, thought it was great, sent it out. This is all these books that they were rushing through the process back in October last year, and I literally got that book in there and back within about a month, and came back as a 9.8. I was ecstatic. It's like, oh my god, that's great. That's going to be, this one will eventually come back and I'll have the matching pair. And all the trouble I went through on the other one to get that 9.8, my sure bet came back, didn't meet that 9.8 grade. So now we'll take a look at this and we'll see what I can do to it. Maybe I can get this up. I'd hate to have to start buying more copies of these, because you're talking $25, $30, $35 a pop. These are exclusive covers, and well, it's obviously pretty expensive, but this is sometimes you don't mind spending extra money when it's for the PC. Now I know there's a Akiyama signing coming up too, so I may end up cleaning pressing this and submitting it to get signed. I mean, that's definitely an option, but we'll see. We'll see where we go with that. But anyway, guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. So this video, and if you watched my last video, it's a 50-book submission. It was super big, super expensive. I took a risk putting it as a 9.8 pre-screen submission with CGC working on it. And if the gamble was, I put all that money into them working on the 50 books, and if they came back, you know, there was a chance that none of them would come back. I mean, I don't know. You know, some of these, the damage was maybe a little bit more than that. Obviously, some of them didn't meet that 9.8, but overall, I think it did pretty good, and pretty happy with the overall submission. So, a lot of these will be going up in sale on my eBay store. Some of them are going to go in my PC. So it was a nice mixed bag. Gotta love it. A lot of fun. Love this stuff. And anyway, that's it, guys. I will see you for the next video, and probably be in the next few days. Going to go through some of the books that I've been picking up over the last few weeks. I talked about stopping off at a couple comic book shops here over the last weekend, and I picked up can't wait to show it off. I picked up a major grail for me. You know, it's not the biggest book in the world, but it is, for me, it is a very special book, and we'll talk about that when we do the next video. So guys, take care, and I will see you then.